show that.
Put your hand up. Keep it down. Okay.
Have I been kidnapped?
Yes.
Am I taking video from my kidnapped location? Oh, there's 12 people in there.
Oh,
Yeah,
you got
there's
people
10.
in there?
Yeah, there's 12 people in there. All right, let's get started. So what do we tell them? You want to start with gas?
Gasoline?
Shalom, shalom. Good morning to
You can let it build up a little bit.
Ruth Holdnar and Renee and Grateful Acres and so on.
Grateful Acres is a good name.
It is a good name. There's so many good channel names. I was running a contest on my channel for really good channel names, and I didn't finish up because I just...
Well, you know what you can do? You can log on to the stream with my phone.
Oh, and look at the comments.
And then you can look at the comments.
Okay, let's see if I can make that happen. So I need to go to your...
Just go to YouTube, go to subscriptions.
Is YouTube in your...
No, just go to the internet.
And that's the compass icon, right? Yes.
I don't know, I can't look.
Yes.
Driving in heavy
know,
traffic.
You know your phone. You know your phone. All right. Okay. All right. I'm on YouTube, and then I have to go to my channel.
Go to subscriptions, then you'll be there.
I don't know where
Subscriptions is on the left.
left.
Or sometimes it's on the bottom. There's like 3 bars in the upper left corner. You click on them and it drops down menu. And then click on subscriptions.
Okay, I'm trying to find it. I think it's probably easier to do this. Wow, that's so small.
Tell me about it.
Jeez. How do you go back on your phone?
It's all intuitive. It's on the bottom left. I can't do it for you. I gotta
I
drive.
know, I'm trying to read the comments so we can just say
I'm
hello
giving
to
you that
y'all.
so you go to the comments. Just tell the people hi. You're working on it.
Yeah, I'm
Talk amongst yourselves.
talk amongst yourselves. If you do, yes, this does happen. Okay, I can. There, make it bigger. Home subscriptions. There it is. Oh, look, there's the live stream right there.
Yeah, you click
Hey,
on it.
Sister Kate and Pastor Joe are live right now.
Oh, we should watch them.
We should watch them.
And then what you do is you go up underneath it, make the screen bigger, and then slide over to the right, and you can just fill it with comments.
Right, okay. There they are. West Old Forge. Hello. Good morning. John Ray says, lots of snow.
John Ray's on?
Yeah. And Scotty John and Mad Kelt. Yes.
Mad Kel, I just washed your t-shirt today.
Just washed it. Lots of snow here last night. Seeds indoors. Started seeds indoors. I made cuttings today of more trees. Cherries, Fuji apple, and I think Granny Smith. And they are in the back. I'm going to get them potted as soon as we get back. Shalom, shalom. There's Mark Chase and Curtis Spencer. You live, laugh out loud. That's right. It's the SKPJ show. The lamp keeper said, haha, caught you. Yes, you have caught us. If you have any extra cuttings, I know a guy that might be interested. Oh, do you want me to save you a couple?
Is that Jeremiah?
Yes.
Jeremiah, I know another woman who can give you a lot of cuts.
And William H. says, shalom, good to see you both. First, I want to thank everybody who has watched my latest videos. Appreciate it. Appreciate your comments. Crew members, I think you should be getting on your gardening now. If you
Some
wanna,
people are still under snow.
Some people are still under
They
snow.
can start
but you
their
can-
indoor game.
Exactly, and some of y'all made that point to me on my last live stream because I said, well, I can't go outside, whatever, and y'all said, well, you can start indoors, and then I made some excuse like, well, it's hard to blah, blah, blah. But then I thought about what y'all said, and I have a plan. I have a plan. And you saw in the video, I had started some things in a cup. Westhold Forces, I murdered 3 cuttings last year. I don't know what I did wrong. Westhold, I thought, because I watched some YouTube videos on them.
Well, then you know everything there is to know.
No, it's not true.
No, if you watch it on YouTube, you got it.
Oh, you're an expert. Seen a woman in Louisiana say that you could take willow cuttings and put them in water, and they will infuse the water with growth hormone, and you can use that to start cutting. So I tried that, it didn't work. I also had someone tell me you can put your cuttings in honey in soil, and that will stimulate the root growth. I have not tried that yet.
I think we ought to just use root growth hormone.
But this year I got the root growth hormone, and I watched the video, and I scored the bottom of the trees a little bit, but not as much as I did last year. Last year, the video I watched said cut like 4 to 6 inches of bark off the bottom.
That's what this woman that I was talking about said also.
Well, the one I watched said score it and then put the root growth on it. So I tried that. He also did smaller cuttings. Like I tried really long cuttings, 3 and 4 foot long with the 4 inches at the bottom, and not a one of them rooted.
Yeah, that might have.
But I put no root hormone on them either. So I think it's a combination of the hormone, the bark around the bottom being removed enough that the root can come out of the wood.
What is going on here?
Pastor in city travel. He's a very good.
If you're not going faster than everybody else, get the heck out of the left lane.
He's a very good, very experienced in the rush hour traffic, but boy, does it drive us crazy.
That drives me crazy. It fills me with adrenaline.
Oh, William H. says
Testosterone.
he uses honey when he's grafting. Matt Kelt said starting onions indoor this weekend after I fix the snowblower. Why? Why would you need to fix the snowblower, Matt Kelt? I wonder. Did we all have a big winter storm recently? I used the growth hormone, but I didn't strip any of the bark off. Well, and see, he said that this lady said, and I watched a video where they said cut, 4 to 6 inches of bark off. The last video I watched said just score it, you know what I mean? Not remove all the bark, but just scrape it lightly. So, if anyone has any experience, please share it with us. Hey y'all, 6-shooter. Have you done any tree rooting before? If you have, can you give us your experience? Having one of the trees that grows apples and pears and peaches all together would be kind of cool. It would be totally awesome.
It seems like that's against Torah, though.
But
It's
it does
definitely
seem
in the
very-
mixing things category.
But it does seem kind of iffy, and I know people who, they have 40 different things grafted on the wood.
I don't think
You
we're
get
gonna do
nuts
that.
And all that. Yeah, I think we're probably
In fact, we're
gonna
not going to do that.
Yeah, we're going to stick with what we have because that's different. Growing it from a cutting and grafting it are 2 different things. And it's not that I don't think grafting doesn't work. I'm just not a very technical person that way. It's got to be very simple for me. PJ drives the show off lane. Oh. So I can actually get out of the driveway to get soil. Yeah, I know, Matt Kell, right? The snow and the ice and the whatever.
Well, I'm going through in my head where we're going to get dirt because we have some planting, which we'll probably end up talking about, coming up here directly, and I need some real dirt, not just rock.
Well, we have compost.
Yeah, I was thinking about the compost, but also I think down by the creek where there's all that mud, dirt and stuff, that's really good dirt. I may just take Jack down there and get a scoopful, or maybe take Jack and the truck.
Area of the property has really good dirt.
Yeah, fill it all up.
Earth. Yeah,
fill the back of the pickup up with
most
dirt.
fruit trees you buy from TSC are grafted onto different rootstock. John, I know, and probably the best way to get
The
really
ones we
good
just
trees.
bought though weren't. The ones we just bought were basically somebody did what you're talking about doing, because they're just the straight stem coming up. It's not grafted on anything.
Well, what we ought to do is go to a nursery or order them from like a specialty store. I think. Oh my goodness.
What our trees were.
Sustainable Stewards recommended Norse Nursery. I think she said it was NOURSE.
Oh,
She
not
said
NORSE. That would be better.
she's ordered for them for years, and like the bushes and everything she gets are quality. Because you're right, CSC and places like Home Depot are getting grafted often.
Hey, I want to
grafted
do
trees.
hazelnuts again. We should try hazelnuts
Oh yeah,
again.
we need to get hazelnuts. We need to.
And then we'll just build like a deer-proof cage around them.
We need to buy a bunch because they're actually sort of like a bush.
Right.
And I am pruning my little arms off. I'm pruning as much as I can my fruit trees now.
Notice how Pastor Joe passing gets on there. Just ask the people if they see us.
Can you see us now? Rock, wait.
Hear us. Can you hear me? Over.
Grafts soft shell pecans on some fruit stock. Grateful Acre said taking your soil out of a pond or a creek. Buffering, and then, hey y'all, I can see and hear you from Lone Star Living. You're back. I want to plant more fruit service. If we hit a big patch, we are planting another orchard
Closer to the house.
closer to the house.
Zone 2.
Zone, no.
Yes.
Orchard 2.0.
No, it's in. Zones around your house, like in permaculture. So zone 1's like your flower beds.
Oh.
And then zone 2 is the next one out there. So it's like zone 2.
Okay, it's zone 2. It's also an area that does have soil. It has been mulched.
Yeah, we
in the
mulched the heck.
past.
We were going to make a garden years ago.
And it has grass on it, and we've had animals multiple times tied out there.
How
doing
many
manure.
trees did we buy? Like 9? 10?
I think we only bought 2 plums,
2 apples.
2 apples, 2 pomegranate. That's only 6.
You bought some little bushes at Arona berry or
I
something?
got aronia berry bushes too. I should have gotten more, but I don't want to plant them right there. Although it's going to be close. It's going to be in an area very close. It's still zone 2.
Oh, we got pears too.
Hey, Farm Mom.
We got plums, pears,
Broccoli,
apple.
Ray Ranch, deer rub, and eat them, but by far the worst enemy are squirrels. I don't see any comments on here though. Oh, there y'all are.
Don't worry about that. That's the camera. That's
Okay.
your.
Yes, got pears, so that's 8. And then these
We're going to
cuttings-
use Jack.
We're going to use Jack to dig the holes. The cuttings that I'm going to try to root right now, I don't think you plant them into the ground as
No.
little teeny guys.
No.
You got to let them get a bit bigger.
Yeah, you got to
before
we'll
can
put them in
transplant
some of those big pots we have.
Yeah.
You're going to need more potting soil.
I'm going to need more potting soil, and I'm going to need more containers. We were also talking
I'll
about...
show you where we have a lot of containers.
Good. We were also talking about we need to plant our peas.
Yeah, tomorrow.
I planted a couple blackberry bushes and grapevines, and definitely want to plant more things like that. Yeah, blackberries we don't have to worry about, or grapevines, because they grow wild. And 6-shooter, you're on some property. If you look around, you may have wild grapevines on your land. They're all over.
And then you just have to dress them and prune them and modify their habitat.
Right.
That's what Sister Kate does.
Right. Even the really old ones that are really tall, if you cut them at a joint, they will start having new growth off of the pruned vine. It won't kill them. So, yeah, just look into that 6-shooter. There is... Rockwood Ranch says plant hybrid chestnuts. Well, you have no other choice. The only chestnuts available to your
we're talking hazelnuts.
Yeah, he said he has hazelnuts on his ranch. Hey, Aid. Well, everything is up in the air, but we're looking into doing espalier trees where we land up. We've heard of that, the pear trees.
We're going to try and do the back to eat method with these, where we prune them and they like are low hanging. We're going to try that. Don't know what we're doing yet. First, we got to get them in the ground and make sure they're growing.
Well, it's just pruning. It's basically pruning.
Right.
I'm thinking it's pruning, which I've tried to do, but there's all of our trees we didn't prune correctly when we got them, and so all of them need their trunks blocked. Every single one of them is growing way tall up the middle, and it doesn't do good for the, the fruiting. So we're gonna have to get a brother to come out, get on a ladder. Sheepdog Patriots here. Shalom. I have a sour cherry that has a lot of moss growing on its bark. What can I spray on that? Harvest seemed okay last year. That's a really good question, and I'm not an expert.
My grandma had a cherry tree. Used to climb it. We'd pick cherries and sell them at my other grandma's bar.
Nice. I don't know about the moss. I would think of antifungal spray, possibly.
Moss?
Moss growing on the tree. Yeah, I
give it more sunlight.
Right? I'm not an expert on orchards, but
is the moss a problem on a tree?
Well, she said the yield last year was okay, so that's why I'm saying maybe in your area moss is okay. You could ask at a local nursery, call them up and say, hey, what's the moss situation?
That's I'm thinking if the yield is fine, then if it's not broken, don't fix it.
6-shooter said, we have lots of wild blackberries, but I haven't found wild grapes around. A lot of people miss the wild grapes.
Yeah.
Because they're in and amongst the trees, and sometimes
they grow high.
When they're old, it's a very thick trunk. It looks like a baby tree, and if they're old, they're way up in your tree. So I would take a walk around your property and just.
Where does he live? What state?
I think he's in Tennessee or Kentucky, something like that.
They ought to have muscadites.
Yeah, you should have muscadites. The difference between the vine and the tree is going to be the vine's bark is always running vertically, and it's kind of, flaky. It's flaky. And you'll see the little curlicues and stuff somewhere on that. We got 5.5 pounds of hazelnuts this past fall at Rockland Ranch. So how long did it take before the bushes produced? Lots of wild cherries in my area, said Westhold. We have wild plums.
We have wild cherries, but they're really small.
We probably need to prune them, quite frankly, and the fruit might get bigger.
Well, maybe take a cutting off of that tree, that wild cherry tree, and we'll try that.
We could, but I also have domestic cherry cuttings.
Okay.
We have moss on everything that doesn't move fast. Mark, you must be in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, where they put copper on their roofs to keep the moss down.
He's in zone 7A. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, Virginia has wild muscadines. And
You've got wild grapes if you have any kind of property.
Unless somebody cut them all down before you ever got there, you'd probably have them somewhere.
If not, you can certainly plant them.
Yeah. Grapes should do fine if you plant them there.
At one time, we were going to plant a real vineyard, and like we were talking about, years ahead of time, but we're going to make Shofar Mountain wine.
Yeah, and I did. I made wine 2 years ago.
No, but I mean, like, do it for reals.
Real wine. Yeah, selling wine. I'm still finding.
Well, we have every kind of slope on Shofar Mountain. East, west, north, south. So just figure out what's best for our area.
I'm still finding all of our vines and trying to prune them in between all the other things we do. And then last year, a lot of them, a fungus or something got the vines around fungus kind of thing. So I've got to kind of look at protecting them, possibly spraying them with something like baking soda, something that dries. I don't know. Anyway, we have wild grapes in zone 5, Grateful Acres says. We have lots of wild choke cherries and plum trees and apple trees, of course, says Pharma up in Canada. We have tons of wild blackberries in a wooded area. They're tart.
Sounds like you have lots of bears too then.
Mama Vinova. Morning. Have autumn olive, Chinese chestnut, hazelnuts, black locusts, more pears, rugosa, rosebush with rose hips on it, coming in. Elderberries and more sunchokes in the fridge waiting to be planted. Perennials. Yeah, that's the way to do it. The more stuff you have and the more you plant, the more you're going to get out.
And perennials are good because do it once and forget about it. Just take care of it.
Yeah, you got to prune them, but yeah. I'll look for them. There's a lot of old hardwood behind my house. That's probably where it is, 6-shooter. They're probably climbing all the way up to get to the sunlight way up top. So it's time to plant peas. Time to plant peas. Peas love cold weather.
Peas, porridge.
Hot, peas, porridge.
Cold.
Peas, porridge in the pot.
3 days old.
9 days old.
Oh, let's do it.
Some like it hot.
Some like it cold.
Some like it in the pot. 9 days old.
Not me.
And cabbages. You can start planting cabbages. One of the cabbages that I started, which I just did, 2 days ago, says right on the package, very cold hardy, plant earlier than most other varieties, etc., etc. Because you don't want your cabbages coming up in the middle of July.
Now
They'll bolt and they won't get very big. It's hard on them. So plant your cold weather stuff. Groot sees what you want, says, good to see you both. Thanks for all you do and have taught us. You are welcome. That's kind of our purpose. Our purpose is to spread knowledge and make everybody more self-sufficient for things.
My purpose is to motivate people to prepare.
For things like this last mini ice age that we all had, because...
Can we call it a micro ice age?
Plenty of
Maybe
people...
it's 60 degrees.
Right. But it lasted 2 weeks and it was minus 30 in Kansas. Plenty of people in Texas were just caught off guard. They were, and Pastor looked into their electric system down there. They have 250 choices of an electric company.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. But they had a choice.
And
you can have the fluctuating rate, or you can have the solid state rate. And those who went for the fluctuating rate, that's why you and I, when we bought houses, never did the fluctuating APR. It's like, you tell me what I gotta pay, and that's what we're gonna sign up for. And people get caught in that all the time. It can fluctuate both ways.
Matt Kill said, hey, it was a regular winter in the Poconos. I know. We know. We have friends in Wisconsin who were like,
Wisconsin?
Yeah, that was winter. Happens every year. West Old Forge said, my purpose is to be awesome, and man, am I good at it.
You're good. You are awesome.
Lettuce and cabbages we are blessed to grow here in a cold frame, just about snow melt time, April. That's kind of fun. What were we just talking about?
Plant peas.
And the cabbages.
And cabbages.
Oh, and people getting caught unaware, whatever, however you want to phrase it, down in Texas.
No reason to be caught unaware.
Not used to that cold of weather.
That's understandable.
Houses not built that way. Pipes not insulated against cold that cold. And their electric companies, they got to choose what electric company they wanted to use. And the fluctuating rate companies who are based on like the stock market or whatever, demand went up, and so that's why those prices went up. You said that, right?
Yeah, so, but two things with that. One, evidently the one company that's just hammering people like $16,000 bill, they sent out messages to all their customers because they could see ahead a couple days, and they said, hey, you should probably switch away from us because this is going to be bad for you. People didn't. That's one. Number two, you don't have a $16,000 bill if you're not running electricity. And so if it got too high to pay, what people should have done is turn off electricity and use something else. But they didn't. People, choices, consequences.
Right, and also, that's what preparedness is about. Even though you live in a warm weather area that hardly ever gets cold, if it does sometimes get cold, then you need to consider, what are we going to do if that sometime thing happens while we're here? And we know, you can buy a $40 propane buddy heater and a bunch of bottles of propane, or even a 20-gallon propane bottle for $50.
Just throw it in the garage.
And just throw it in the garage. And you can, if it won't heat your 3,000 square foot mega mansion or whatever you want to call it.
It'll heat your bedroom.
It'll heat your bedroom. It'll heat where you can sit in bed, have your hot coffee.
You need a camp stove. You need to live like Pastor Joe and Sister Kate, or at least be able to, and it's not that much money. We've got a little Coleman camp stove that you cook all summer on, and a little buddy heater, and you'd be fine.
That's $100, $200 max versus $16,000. And I was going to say, you don't even have to do that. If you buy a $400 sun oven, which the sun oven guy is a wonderful guy.
Yeah,
If you have a $400 sun oven, you just put your cup of water or your gallon of water or whatever outside in that sunlight, because you can't tell me Texas doesn't have
You're
sunlight.
pointing at people.
I know, I'm getting worked up. It will heat that for you. You can have your cup of warm coffee. You can, bake your dinner in that sun oven. This is what prepping, the essence of prepping is.
Essence.
To be prepared
She's
for
fired up.
possible emergencies. And so there are ways to get around it. If you have to turn your power off, do you have batteries? You should. You should have a battery operated radio. You should have flashlight batteries.
Come on, you should have a bunch of extra batteries for everything you need batteries for. Just store them someplace relatively cool and just have them.
And
Next time you see a 16 or a 30 pack, buy it.
And when your power's off and it's 10 degrees outside, put your refrigerator, freezer stuff in a cooler on your back deck. Just because the power's off doesn't mean you have to let your refrigerator stuff go bad. You don't. Use the natural refrigeration happening outside. Leave it out there until the temps go back up and your electric is restored, and put it back in your fridge. It's common sense. It's stuff that people are capable of doing.
Common sense isn't very common anymore, Sister Kate.
When our power goes out, my kids think it's indoor adventure time. Exactly.
We're gonna make a tent fort in the living room.
Playing Monopoly by candlelight. Come on, dude. It can be fun. We had a fire suppression pipe bust in the attic on the 3rd floor. The attic had heat in it as well, just not enough. Fire suppression pipes put out a lot of water fast. Remodel time. There's another answer for that. If you think your water pipes are going to burst,
Turn it off.
Turn your water off. Fill up your buckets and your bottles of whatever you think you're going to need to flush your toilet and, warm up water to wash your hair, and then turn it off.
And drain the pipes.
And drain the pipes and fix the thing and then turn it back on. You can do that. You have a master control somewhere in your house.
No sympathy from Sister Kate. She's a hard woman. Lives a hard life. If she can do it,
you can do it. It's not that I'm a hard nose. It's just that I want you all to be able to handle this. I want you all to be able to handle it. We don't want you to have to be uncomfortable and charged with $16 worth of electric bill and shivering in your own homes. We want you to be prepared. Mr. Heater makes many models to choose from for indoor LP heaters. Most need a special hose to use on a 20 or 30 pound tank. And TSC sells those hoses.
Oh, so check this out. We bought 2 of the big Mr. Heater things. They're
Mr. Buddy or whatever they're
this big. And we bought them at Cabela's. Well, now Bass Pro.
Right.
And the whole set of shelves was just those heaters. And then next to those heaters is these hoses that hook on to 20-pound propane bottles. So we bought 2 of those. And this is far away from us. And so then we drive back and we go to hook them up.
Wrong ones.
They didn't have the hoses that hook the buddy heaters up to the 20-pound propane tanks. And those hoses there, I don't know what the heck they were there for. It was ridiculous. So we couldn't use them that way. But you could screw the little ones in, and we did that for a while.
But then TFC had the correct hoses and then had a picture right on it. Here's your camp stove. Here's a 20-gallon bottle. And the hoses connecting the two.
Yeah.
So, can't turn off fire suppression, but the fire department can turn it off outside the building. They have a control out there.
Who's texting me?
I don't recognize.
All right. Is it just a phone number?
I got a buddy and the hose. See? 6-shooter did it. It's not that hard. Just go to a farm store. Go to a Home Depot or something. I'm sorry, what?
On the other hand, enjoy the remodel. As much of a pain in the neck as that is, and I'm sorry, but we've had to do that twice.
Okay,
and,
but
you can pick.
you have insurance if you can afford it.
Oh, Yeah, well, that's what I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
you can change some things up that kind of bugging you before. With the remodel, you can fix this.
Yes, freedom. You can eat food that doesn't require heating up. You can have kind bars and cereal and peanut butter and jelly.
Or you could buy a $30 Coleman 2-burner suitcase camp stove and make whatever you want.
Make ramen. You know,
Everybody should own
we
one of
stock
those.
progressive style soups because they, you know, you just put it in the pot and you heat it up. You eat it. I mean, there are ways.
What land cost out here?
So, back to our title, gas.
You want to talk about gasoline?
We would like to talk to you about gasoline.
So evidently, there hasn't been, somebody on my Patreon channel told me this today, there has not been a new refinery since the 70s in the U.S., something to do with permitting. And at least four of the major refineries in Houston are offline because of damage sustained by this last cold spell. Soonest expected to be online, optimistic, is a few weeks, like 3 weeks.
Hey, am I prepper?
But the problem is just-in-time delivery. It's the way of everything. And so they're used to running 24/7, pumping out, and then that gas is used. And evidently these refineries are mostly directed at the East Coast. And so gas is about to get really expensive to rationed to not available. And I put that out on my Patreon channel last night when I got word about it. That get ready, and it went up, what, 15 cents overnight?
It went up 15 cents overnight.
So I think it's going to be worse.
And that's something you'd have to prep for. It actually happens, which I'm not an alarmist. I want to see proof that something's actually going to happen, right?
Show me. We're in Missouri.
Yeah. You need to plan for the gas thing. If this gas shortage actually happens, you need to go fill up your gas cans now. And if you don't have any gas cans, you need to get some. Because for us, we don't have to go anywhere if we don't want to. Y'all who work, you commute. Now, if everybody has gas shortages and nobody can go to work, then work's going to figure that out. They're going to tell you to work at home or whatever. But if you don't work, you need to have gasoline for things that you do, like if you go to
Or to
church,
bug out.
or
You got to
bug
be
out.
ready to bug out all the time, so you have to have gas to fill up your car and go if you have to.
Right, or if you have to go to the doctor, if you have regular appointments that you go to. And think about it, a little car like this gets a pretty good amount of miles per gallon. If you've got one of those huge gas guzzling trucks, you need to think about that. If you're going to be driving that deal to work and going 100 miles an hour, just burning it up like there's no tomorrow. Planning, preparation. Think about that. We wanted to let you know. They will also prioritize more local gas deliveries to be honest, cheaper transportation costs. All mine are already filled. Might get a couple more. See, Matt Kell, man, he's on it. He is on it. Those inverter generators are great for most things and efficient. Multi-fuel models are available. Only use non-ethanol gas and small gasoline motors.
The only gas we store is non-ethanol gas. We buy the high-quality gas because in our area, that's the only stuff you can get without ethanol. And that's all we store. So that's all we run through our machines.
Are we going to need to make us stop, or did we already pass it?
No,
Okay.
unless you want to.
Well, no, we don't have to. Wessel Ford says he loved cooking on the wood stove the past week. That was an alternative way of cooking.
Absolutely.
Another prepper says she has all the cold veg sprouting and bushes and peaches. Beef blessed with 2 kilogram hands. Working hands. 2 working hands. Okay, so let's see what else. Bowen said, how Audi, motorcycle 55 miles per gallon. Exactly. If you have a motorcycle, now would be a good time to ride that.
It's getting warm too.
First time I ever typed preparedness and search YouTube, Viking propped up, and my education began. Thanks. You are welcome.
Who said that?
Group sees what you want. Airport small ones sell real gas.
Yep, add
Expensive,
gas.
though. Yeah, we have some specialty gas places around us that will sell real gas. Yeah, so just keep your eye on that situation. So now we're back to gardens.
So we're gonna do our hoop design thing.
Yes, this year.
And we first saw that where?
First one I remember seeing hoop coop wise was our son had some built up at his place for his critters.
No, we saw it in Valhalla.
Well, they had a version of it. They had the small beds.
Theirs was lower.
4 foot by 4 foot maybe, because they're well, we won't go into it, but I mean it suited their purpose. And then they had half panels over top of them, and then like chicken wire around them, because
That was to keep they free range their birds and
right.
stuff.
They wanted to free range their
Which
small
we want to do
livestock
too.
to eat around the plants, but not be able to eat their garden stuff.
Right. I like that idea.
And then we built the duck hoop coop, and you saw it and said, "Wow, that would work as a growing area," which is what our greenhouse
Melissa
is.
and Tony.
Right, Melissa and Tony had the same thing, only a longer version, and then you said
We should do that.
we should do that.
Because our thing is we like to free range our chickens in the summertime because there's lots of bugs and we don't have to feed them very much. But they go in and scratch around the plants and tear them up or eat them or peck our tomatoes or whatever. That's one. And two, the deer are right there. And building a 10-foot high deer fence is a little bit beyond us right now. But putting these hoops over all the plants and then putting like chicken wire or something around them should work.
Shalom, Jazz Badger, and Norm.
Norm from Holland.
We have, you guys have seen, we have growing beds that the chickens can't get into that I designed that are a triangle shape. And
Yeah.
I put fence on them, right? I put plastic fencing on them, and so they're easy to just throw it up and get in there and weed, but it's also harder for us to kneel down and bend over for long amounts of time. So my beds work as far as growing things in.
I just think these will work better.
But we need to think about getting our stuff up off the ground and making it easier for us to get. And so the hoops is the next version.
We're going to try it. We're going to try it and see. I think it'll work good. And then
And we have
eventually we're going to do the hoops with raised beds in them. I think this first year we probably won't get these beds done. But we'll try and see if we can build hoops like our one raised bed, the chickens jump up in there, the big one we built
Yes.
with the metal.
Yes.
We're going to have to put something over that because they climb up there now, or fly up there.
Yes, they do. So that's in our future is some construction and some new. I already have kale planted that I planted a couple of months ago, and it was coming up before the ice age. I don't know if it's
The
still
ice
is.
age has come in.
I'm gonna have to check the beds when we get home, but I thought I did see some of it still alive, and I also did some guerrilla gardening with it. Excuse me, in areas where trash weeds grew. I mean, the goats wouldn't even eat them. Excuse me. So last fall, I went in there and pulled a bunch of stuff out, dug it up, and then threw the kale in on top. So hopefully that will also grow. We got some gooseberry bushes.
You did, yep.
We have gooseberry. We do. There was one plant when we got here, and I think it's now, like 4 or 5 plants.
Where is it?
It's up on the road going to the range.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, then we should go up there and protect it.
Sure, and I'm thinking that's where I might plant the other 2 gooseberries.
Is it
but
like
you
on the
wanted-
road?
Yeah, but you wanted
No,
it
I want to
closer
do
the
close
house.
to it. I want to start a food forest.
Right, or around the house. So maybe they will go in the ground near where bunch of sunlight gets to them.
I thought gooseberries like shade because the ones in Kansas grew it.
I know they did, but the thing on the instructions said they like dry soil, well-drained soil, and full sun.
Huh.
So it could be just the variety. Also.
Could also just be a coincidence they were growing down there wild because that was the wild part of the land.
Could
Hey,
be.
there's a lot of ice and snow still here.
Yeah. Although that's been underwater before.
Yeah.
We're anticipating a big bunch of walnuts, the wild walnuts.
Yes, because last year we had none, so we're hoping it's like one of those cycles.
Well, we read up on it and it said it is. It's like biennial. Older trees are more biennial.
And I think this year we're going to stretch tarps out underneath the hickory trees to catch the hickory nuts.
We should do that for the hickories and the walnuts.
Well, the walnuts you can find. They're easy. They're big and yellow, and it's not a big deal. But the hickories, they're harder to find.
Well, they fall in June.
Is it that early June?
Yes.
Well,
They start falling in
we need to
June.
pay attention when they start falling. We need to stretch tarps.
And we're going to have hackberries too. We're going to have a bunch of hackberries because they didn't
That's
have
a
it this
lot of
year.
work for a little bit of
It's good though. So what we should do is stretch tarps or something under them as well and catch them and then, like boil them, make it juice, and then I can make jelly. And
So you
stuff
know
with
how a
that.
fig Newton, when you eat a fig Newton, the fig in there, it looks like they crunched up the seed with it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Maybe we could put hackberries through a roller and just crush the seed into the hackberry and then eat it like that.
Supposedly you can eat the whole thing. You can eat the seed and then
Right. So
the
what I'm
stuff
saying
around
is,
it.
if we just
Right.
crunch it all, and,
Right.
and then make like a fruit leather or something out of it.
Yeah, we can do something like that or make a pemmican with it. My raised bed hoop has hinges on the cover. Bones said he thinks he'll get hazelnuts this year. There's also a homesteader, I think he's in southern Ohio, and I think he calls his channel Tom's Homestead. I think it's Tom's, it might be Ted's. He doesn't have a lot of subscribers or a lot of videos, but he is doing a lot of planting, and he had hazelnuts, and he showed
They
them.
go down there, see that? That's
Yeah.
like they planted an orchard.
It's a tree grow place. What do you call it? Nursery. Because the plants aren't all the same kind. And Tom's Homestead, he had hazelnuts last year. He showed them when he took them off the plants, and then I think he showed how he gets the shell off or whatever. So that's a way to look that up. Gotta bounce. Bruce
Who's bouncing?
says travel with father's care and protection. Pecans. People are saying pecans. I don't love pecans.
I don't
like
love
them.
pecans
I
either.
like the walnuts. I like hazelnuts.
Norm, do you have a garden?
Oh,
Are
yeah.
you gonna have a garden?
Hickory nuts are hard to crack. Almost not worth it, said Westhold. You're supposed to.
We bought the.
That's for the other ones.
Yeah, but you can use it for anything.
With the hickory nuts, you're supposed to put the nut shell and everything in a big pot and boil it.
Oh yeah, we want to make ambrosia.
It supposedly tastes wonderful, and it's a Native American drink.
And
with
the
all of it.
settlers used to make it. You basically crunch it all up, soak it in water. We haven't done it yet. I've read about it.
Right.
And
We've even gathered them and haven't done it. And I think
People
you have to
haven't-
do them fresh. You can't do it
Right.
like for 3 years later.
right. And then after a while, everything settles out. I think they call it ambrosia
It's
or
supposed to
hickory
be-
milk. They call it hickory
Hickory
milk.
milk.
You should look that up.
It's supposed to be really good.
And so we want to try that.
Okay. Shyly are great for smoking beef bacon.
Well, we know beef bacon.
You talk about some kind of wood to do the smoke. Is that what you're talking about, Matt Kell?
Did Norm answer? Maybe he's not watching anymore. I wondered if he does
He
gardens.
did a very extensive reply to my video on gardening. I think Norm gardens.
Can you garden that far north?
Well, you'd have to do it at certain times of the year and probably use a greenhouse. Yeah, you seem to know what he was talking about. Pecan shells. That's what Matt Kell's saying. Pecan shells are good for smoking beef bacon. Interesting. Okay, so we talked about our hoop coop. We probably should try to do another raised bed.
Yeah, I want to make another one like we did, and we need to put more dirt in the one we have because it's settling into the wood.
Right. And you talked about putting up fence posts.
No, I didn't talk about. You and I talked about that. We've just found, Sister Kate and I were walking through the woods the other day, and we found a whole section of, 10, 15 foot high? No.
A bunch.
8 to 10 foot high, maybe, cedar trees. And if you let your cedar trees go, it'll turn your hardwood forest into a cedar forest. We don't want that. And so I think we're going to cut those trees down and then save the trunks and use those for fence posts around our garden.
Yes. Yeah. And my friend, well, he's not my friend. Cross Timbers.
If he's not your friend, he's not my friend.
I haven't met him in person. He's like an internet channel I like to follow. Just did a video on putting up fence for his buffalo, and it was good. It was instructional. I enjoyed it. So, go fencing. Go fencing. Yeah, we need to get some kind of fencing up just to keep critters out of the garden. Which is another reason those hoop coop things would work, because then we don't have to worry about that.
Right. I want to kind of do the combo. Besides that, I saw a fence not that long ago made out of cedar poles, and I liked it. I liked the way it looked.
Yeah.
Rustic.
Rustic. Hickory milk, says Mother Predator. Yes. Do you know what nut trees produce within a couple of years? Consider pecans at 7-year production and maybe 2 bulbs to harvest them. Hazelnuts. Rockland Ranch said 4 years for hazelnuts.
Yeah, I read a permaculture book, Restoration Agriculture, and the guy lived up in Wisconsin, and he sounded like he knew what he was doing. And I like the book, for those of you into books, Restoration Agriculture. I don't remember his name, but he talked a lot about hazelnuts, and I think he would feed to his pigs or something. I don't know, but we don't do pigs.
Right, nuts are just a good source of oil and protein.
The deer were scratching up the snow to eat all the acorns. We had a huge acorn crop.
Huge acorn crop this year, not so much last year. So that's kind of
So then this year we'll have hickory and walnut and low acorns.
And hackberry. Okie Storm Chaser said, good idea on the cedars. Don't let those wicked things prosper.
There you go.
They will replace a hardwood forest eventually if you don't cut down your cedars, your evergreens.
Yeah, I was telling Sister Kate, I was reading about a year ago. I didn't know that there were different forest types had different names, and we live in what's called an oak hickory forest, and that's basically what all our trees are, except in a couple of places where the cedars are coming in. And cedars are good for their poles last. You can like stick them in the ground and make things out of them. They don't rot easily.
Bugs don't like it very much.
Bugs don't like it. But other than that, they're not great firewood, yada, yada, yada. So I'm going to go in there and cut those down.
And we have enough. We want to preserve our hardwood forest. We like
our hardwood forest.
Turn into an evergreen forest. So we can
it's beautiful.
do things with that. You can build with the cedars. So Jareth and Todd from Reap What You Sow are on the thing, and he's the one. Todd's the one I was telling you about all the wild hog trapping he does. And,
oh, is that him?
Yeah, with the fence and the round things and the cameras and all that. And they have a sawmill, and he cuts timber. So we have a sawmill too, and we're starting to cut timber slowly but surely.
There's only so many hours in the day. We want to build the hoop houses, we want to cut the timber, want to go cut the cedars, want to put up a fence. What else did we already talk about?
We need to plant the plants.
Yeah, we got to build another raised bed. Got to get more dirt for the old raised bed.
Prune the fruit trees.
It just never ends.
Grapes, but it's not boring.
We could sell everything, go live in an apartment with a maid in Thailand.
We'd be bored to death.
We would be bored to death.
We'd be so bored to death. Although we could get into the arts.
The food.
We have hedge trees and they make good poles, but otherwise not worth the thorns.
Right.
Hang on now.
They make bows.
Hedge is what most Native Americans who lived around them made their bows out of because it was really good wood for that, and hedge burns like coal.
Yeah,
hedge
you can't
is a
fill
very-
an average firebox with hedge. You'll bend it.
No, but you can extend your normal wood by just
Absolutely.
having 1 or 2 little bits of hedge in each fire that you make. Or if you want a really hot fire, like you want a blacksmith or something, make your hedge fire outside.
Yeah.
So don't discount hedge.
Look at you pointing.
I know, I'm so sorry. Hedge apples, you know the fruit, the big green ones. Horses will eat that, cows will eat that. Squirrels eat that, I think deer. And hang on, there was one other thing. And they love the leaves. Like my goats would eat the heck out of the hedge leaves on the trees.
Yeah, I trimmed our hedge trees that we have around the house as high as I could reach with a machete, cutting off branches and feeding them to the goats. They eat it like goat heroin.
They love it. So don't discount your hedge. Hedge is a good tree to have. All right. Major wildlife hazards too in a drought. If they catch fire, they light off like bombs. The cedars. He's talking about dry cedars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shalom says Jay Morris. Shalom.
Jay Morris!
Jay Morris, are you that
What's up,
Jay
my brother?
Morris? How are you?
Yeah, are you that Jay Morris?
You know what we're talking about. If you are, we like you. We miss you.
Stop with the point. What is that? It's going to reach out there.
Because I'm like a granny. Did you read about some in Texas cities burning furniture and their kids' toy wooden blocks for heat last week? No, but I'm telling you, when people get cold, they get a little desperate.
Little cray-cray. Haven't used that word for a while, cray-cray.
I wonder, though, if they had trees outside. Because, come on, some parts of Texas have
Pallets?
0 trees, right?
Burnt pallets?
You got mesquite bushes. You know what I'm saying? Like, what?
You make good barbecue with mesquite.
There's no buffalo chips laying around anymore. What are you going to burn?
Coal.
Mother Prepper says no swine here. Thank you, sis, for info and the restoration egg. Read Pastor Joe. You're welcome.
It's a good
Some
book.
people
I enjoyed it.
Morris, no wood to burn. That's what Reba said. She can point all she wants, at least she's not knife-handed yet. Mad Kelp said, cedars get a little stabby. They do, and I don't like it. I have to wear gloves whenever I'm anywhere near it, because when they do the stabbing...
Oh, I was
in my
already
skin,
thinking in my head, I'm going to go cut them down probably this week. And I think I'm going to take an axe and a saw, and I'm going to axe into it so that I can access it with the saw, because you can't, like, reach through all those things. I guess you can, if I quit being a wuss.
Well,
But
wear long sleeves and gloves, because it prickles my skin. Yes, it is. But if you cut a chunk of it and put it in your closet... Thank you both for all the good information. Much appreciated. I have to head back to work. Grateful Acres, thanks for stopping by. Love your channel name. I was going to say, Reap What You Sow is one of the best channel names I've heard, and Kiss My Grass Acres. I think that's hilarious. But like Mother Prepper is a really good name. There's just so many of them anymore. Well, there was a guy that blew up his house using gasoline and lighter fluid to light the fireplace. He turned the house into a fuel-air explosion.
yep, they had a downdraft right when he was lighting it. Like, the one guy died, the other guy was severely injured and burnt the house down.
So
Don't use gasoline. Hello.
What are we going to tell you?
Don't use
Boy
gasoline.
Scout leader, Girl Scout leader, Okie Storm Chaser, anyway prepper. If you're ever a volunteer firefighter, you learn a lot about fires. And one of the things you learn is don't use accelerants like that.
People try to do things with gasoline and matches.
In a house.
Bad things happen.
Right? In a house.
It explodes. It doesn't just burn. It's not kerosene. It explodes.
No, and there's so many. Your dryer lint and an egg carton will make a fire with so much less drama and so much more effectively if people would just research these things. I don't want that to happen to you. Pastor's like,
It's not going to happen. These people are smart away.
But we're educating people so something
I don't know that the
doesn't
people who
happen.
need the education watch channels like this.
I don't think I am that Jay Morris, but I'm a follower of PJF on VP Patreon.
Okay, you're not that Jay Morris, or you would know.
He's a Jarl though, so
We still like you,
we still like you, Jay Morris.
but we don't know you, right?
I just buy fat wood at Lowe's. It takes very little, right? I mean, you can just get the little fire starters.
I
too, if
actually
you don't
bought
wanna
2
make your
boxes. I
own.
saw a Fatwood for sale. Might have been at Lowe's, and I'm like, what? And I bought 2 boxes of it. I was actually thinking about making little necklaces out of Fatwood and like selling them or something, you know. What else? I didn't. I don't even know where it is. I think it's in the bushcrafting kit.
Okay. So
Just had a lull, or did everyone go away?
well, the comments are the same.
Well, just
Stupid
talk.
should hurt, but not that much, said Matt Kelly. He retracted it and rephrased it. That's a gentle way of saying, yeah.
What?
Yeah. Stupid should hurt, but not so much you blow your house up.
Right.
But reality also happens, and you have to think about these things. And my prepper said Fatwood is great stuff and he's safe. And there
Right.
are many safe fire starters that you
Sure.
can make yourself. Cotton balls and Vaseline, you know. It's
Gasoline?
Vaseline.
No gasoline.
No.
Cotton balls dipped in gasoline?
No. Gasoline in the vehicle. Okay, so back to the garden.
Oh, here's a little tip. What just happened? Oh, comments. Hey, do you have a fire extinguisher in your car? Truth in advertising, I just looked for one in this car the other day. It's not in here.
What?
I know, we need to buy them.
What happened to it?
As a firefighter, which I was a volunteer firefighter for 10 years, I probably saw 3 or 4 car fires
Car fires.
that could have been prevented with a fire extinguisher. Because what happens is the engine starts smoking, they pull over in the highway, they pop the hood, and there's like a little fire going in there in the grease or whatever, and they start trying to get dirt off the side of the road and throw on it. It starts spreading pretty quick, and once your engine, all the grease and hoses and everything catches on fire, you're not putting that out with dirt. And once a tire catches on fire, forget about it. I had a state trooper pull up at one of these fires, and I was one of the first people there. He pulled up right behind me, and he didn't have a fire extinguisher either in his car, and that car became fully engulfed and was a total loss. You should have a fire extinguisher in your car, and they sell these little ones, looks like hairspray. You can just stick it in the mat pocket right back here, and that's enough to do what you need to do. So have a fire extinguisher in your car is my advice, and I need to take it myself.
Right. And car fires, like house fires, things like this upholstery burns at 1500 degrees and puts out poisonous smoke when it burns.
Well, you're not going to be standing in the smoke of your car on
The whole
fire.
point is, once the car is ignited,
It's going.
you want to put it out. There's so much fuel in a car. So I reiterate what the pastor said.
You're going to have to go to China Mart and get some fire extinguishers.
I know someone that can make strikers to go with the Fatwood and some flint. What a concept!
That was Jeremiah Larkin.
Yes, have a flint and a steel, and you can make spark, and you can get like little bits of dry grass going. You don't have to pour gasoline on it.
Well, if you pour gasoline on the dry grass, will it go?
As a matter of fact,
just a little.
we had a sister our mountain many years ago who moved to suburbia and was at a park and watched a gentleman trying to start a fire for a good 15 minutes with a log and gasoline and getting nowhere. And she went over and built herself a nice little fire starting, you know, some dry grass, some twigs and everything, and got the fire started and got to have the moment looking at the guy.
Who was that?
Sister Abby.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she said, you guys taught us some stuff.
Yeah,
when
we used
were
to have
there."
fire making classes.
Right, have fire making classes, do fire making practice using. There's so much dried weeds out there right now that burn like that. I mean, y'all should try it. I've watched too many cars burn. I have one up front and one in the trunk. Good job, Matt Kell. I'm telling you, he's so squared away. Abe says, I make my own Fatwood. Well, there you go.
They don't have fatwood around here naturally. It's not like the southeast and stuff. Those big pine forests.
Yeah, Westhold Forge has a channel. He does do blacksmithing stuff, and his stuff is for sale. So if you want a striker, go to his channel. You know, comment and say, I'd like to buy one. Where do I send my money?
Support someone you know.
Flamekeeper said they have big industrial fire things for big rigs, but all they put in them are the tiny ones. And she said, wow, we're still on. She couldn't believe it. She had to go somewhere and come back. So welcome back.
Well, what else are we going to do? We're driving. We're not going anywhere. Actually,
okay,
we are.
Storm Chaser said, do them things with them cedar trees you're going to cut down, right? And fire started out of that.
Yeah.
My friend has a 5.0 Mustang that was lemon. One day it caught fire and he told a guy to save his fire extinguisher. So sometimes people have reasons for not wanting help.
There's a nickname for arson.
Firebug?
No, it's something.
Insurance?
I don't want to say it out loud because I might be wrong.
We did go to a fire where someone set fire to a Jeep Wagoneer, which was a crime, and pushed it into their woods.
They started it in a pasture.
Right.
And then it caught on fire. I think they set it on fire, right?
They set the car
and then
on
it was
fire.
burning because the car burns really big. And they were afraid they'd get caught, so they pushed it off the pasture, down the hill, into the woods, and started a forest fire down there. I remember that my back was hurting then. And you and Rob were down there fighting that thing with the hoses down on a hill like this, and lots of
poison ivy was ignited. And so poor Rob, who's extremely allergic to it, was breathing in the fumes, and it caused his lungs
We're going to run out of signal right up here.
Why? We're coming
Yeah,
into a
well, you
major,
see.
I don't know that we're going to.
Okay, maybe we won't. Maybe we'll still.
Anyway, his lungs got inflamed and his skin, all his exposed skin.
That was bad.
And I had poison ivy.
You guys were in
allergies
bunker gear
too.
though. I remember that full bunker gear.
But where you take
Yeah,
your
I know.
gloves off
Yeah.
and you cool down, like my
Yeah, 'cause
neck
it was hot.
broke out and my hands broke out, and I think I had to go get a shot.
You did.
All because these nitwits were trying to get insurance on this vehicle. It was the things you see as a firefighter sometimes. It's just,
Yeah, there's a book just in what we saw, and we only did it for a little while.
yes, poison ivy fumes. Matthew Small says, no fire extinguisher. There is a great video by Viking Preparedness about car kits.
Yeah, I
And
know.
Chauffeur Mountain
And that kid is not.
SLP.
It's not in this car. But I admitted it. See, I'm not sitting there saying, look at me, I'm super survivalist prepper guy. I'm like, hey, I noticed that. And actually, by me pointing it out to y'all that I don't have it, it makes me feel bad. So it's going to motivate me to get one. We'll get one this week. If we make it home alive.
We're going. Yeah, forbid anything happens.
No,
to
we already
us.
prayed. We're good. We're covered in prayer.
Covered in prayer. Covered in prayer. So, would you like to hear another firefighter story? Because I've got it.
The people want to hear
Do
the
you want to hear
firefighter
a
story.
firefighter story? Bones is saying, gotta go by.
Bye, Bones.
Matthew says we are the best. But do you want to hear a firefighter story?
You know they do.
I want to see him say yes. There we go. Matt Count said yes. Okay.
CNC lathe operator, ammo loading position.
Our area for our department was rural. It's still rural. And so you get people who have to burn their fields off in the springtime, like March, and they had a whole system set up. It was very commonsensical, where if you needed to burn your field off, you called up the department and just said, I would like to burn my field off today, and they would say, yeah, you can do that thing, or no, you can't. And if you did it and you didn't have a permit, you could be held liable
If something went wrong.
for something goes wrong. So common sense in our area also is, if you're going to have a fire, don't do it when it's windy.
And they won't issue a permit if it's windy.
Right. If you call up and try to get a permit, they're going to tell you, no, there's going to be 25-mile-an-hour winds or something today. Not a good day.
The permit's free. It's
Right.
it's really permission is
Right.
what it is.
And to make sure you're covered. So it is a particularly windy day, and we get the tone, beep, 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 beep. Brush fire at such and such a location. And so we respond, and it's a very windy day.
I still don't know where the story's going.
You'll
I'm
recognize it when we
as
get there.
excited about it as everyone else is to this story. So there they are doing whatever they were doing. Their tones go off. They jump in their vehicle and they rush to the brush fire.
Right. You have to go to the department. You have to, if you're the first guy there, you got to get the brush truck out. You know, blah blah blah. So It's a pretty big fire. All the trucks are going, the tanker and the pumper and the brush trucks and everything, and a good amount of the department is going to go too. And it's on a ridge, and when we get there, we can see like part of the field's on fire, there's part of a structure on fire, and we've come to find out it is a historic or whatever place for the hunt club in the area.
Oh yeah, I remember this one.
You know, they've got some gear and some photos and everything.
The hunt club is people on horses that have this really expensive boots and saddles and stuff, and they go riding all over, jumping fences and that kind of thing.
And it was, I think it was a house with a couple of females. They were running this camp.
They were.
And their field's on fire, and two of our firefighters park in the wrong part of the field.
This is where you learn, always park on the black stuff.
On the black stuff, the already burnt stuff, because it's not going to catch again. They don't. They park right in the middle of this field, and the wind is blowing the fire towards them, and they get out, and the truck and the two firefighters are pretty much engulfed. Didn't damage the truck, but it burned one of the firefighters' forearms, and the other guy ran out of the way.
Park on the black stuff.
So it's kind of serious. And flappers and things, and we spend a bit of time out there putting out the field and the building and the this and the that, and 4 hours later we're all dirty and exhausted, and so
then you get to go clean all the equipment before you put it away.
And we find out, like, how did this get started? Oh, we were just burning trash in this little burn thing out here, which looked like a piece of fence, open-sided. So she puts whatever trash or whatever she's going to burn in there and lights it, and all around it is
high
this dry
weeds and
field.
dry leaves.
Like, what are you doing? You have no common sense whatsoever. So yeah, that was a whole, just stand there and shake your head like, what were you thinking? They weren't. And they damaged a bunch of their own paraphernalia, their pictures, and their...
They burnt like a bunkhouse down or something.
Yeah, burn a bunkhouse down. Like, that was a costly mistake. It's kind of the point I was making with that whole story. Okay. Aw. Tim, the PNW Viking consistently brings up fire extinguishers and provides them in the Puget Sound Viking Network as giveaway prizes for the meetings.
Tim does that?
Yes, that's a really good idea.
You're a great American.
That's a really good idea. I wonder if there were any Viking meetings near us, that could be possible.
Huh, so like when we buy ours, buy some door prizes?
No. I think you mentioned that, Mark. Park on the black stuff. Put the wet stuff on the red stuff. Wildfire fighting 101. Oh, goodness. Matthew Bias said it's got to run take care of the things. And Matt Kelk said, thank you for the story, Sister Kate. Well, you're welcome, Matt Kelk. Oh, we've got a million of them, but I don't want to bore you with all of them all at once. Randall Davidson said, shalom, y'all.
Shalom.
Well, what next? What was I? Oh my goodness.
Ask the people, do you have any interesting questions? We may answer them, we may not.
What is that one question you've always wanted to ask us?
You're sitting right here in the car with us, and you're like, there's something I've always wanted to know. If we haven't said it, then we're probably not going to, but you never know.
Now is the time. Now is the time.
What do you think of durians?
By the way, happy 223rd day. Don't know what that means.
I don't either.
Not to change the subject, but what's the ammo situation in your area?
Unavailable.
Unavailable. Dana says, thank you. Love listening to you all. Well, thank you. Waiting for your questions.
Waiting for your questions. Pastor Joe and Sister Kate are waiting for the questions. They're driving through very rural areas.
I would show you, but then you couldn't look at our beautiful faces. Well, I guess I could. Could I?
You might turn it off.
Might turn it off. Not very.
Just trust us. It's very rural here.
All right. Randall did. I have to listen to the whole front. Lots of plants. Plant your cold weather crops now. Onions, cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, spinach, lettuce. You can put lettuce in the ground now. If you're in a warmer zone, if you're up in the last,
Like us, we're 7.
that's what we do. Oh, could not activate cellular network.
Yeah, I told you this is the dead zone.
It might be the dead zone. We'll see. Looks like we still have people on here. We've got one moderator. You don't have to have these more moderators.
You're a moderator. I'm a moderator on there. So if you're on my phone,
Okay.
you're a moderator.
Listening whilst I shave, but had to ask, flat or round or motionless plane for Earth?
So it's a globe.
It's a globe. The Bible even says it's a globe. It says it's round. Come on, people. Somebody would have fallen off the edge by now if it were flat.
Oh!
Just saying.
No, you can't because.
It's a circle.
But
Circles
what's
have
underneath
edges
it?
too.
What's underneath it then?
Yeah,
Let's go underneath it and see what's
No,
there.
how does water flow? Downhill, right? If
Stop.
this- okay. Fine. Any other questions? What is the one thing you would do over or wish you had planned better? Asking for my hand in marriage.
Yes, I would have done that more formally, dropped to a knee, that whole thing. That is a regret. I would have done that.
Yes, and if we could have.
Instead of, you want to get married?
Such a romantic, this guy.
So romantic.
If we could have, we would have gone to Chauffeur Mountain sooner. While
Yeah.
we were still young and dry.
And if I knew then what I know now, I would have asked you to marry me the day I met you. But,
Right. Other than
well,
that,
not met you, the day I asked you out.
I mean, there are some other things we've done in our life that, we didn't know any better. But
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Well, no big regrets,
Generally,
so.
generally we're pretty happy where we are. If the earth was flat, cats would have pushed everything off the edge, said Mad Kel. Excellent point. Excellent point. Oh, it's too funny.
This is about where we lost our pickup truck, isn't
I'm
it?
with you, sister. At the end of the day, yeah, it's not going to send me to hell because I thought the earth was round. Oh, I like that comment too. I'm also doing this to repair the heart is most important. What is the most changing whatever thing to do for preparedness, do you think, Pastor?
Was heart-changing thing?
Like what about your heart do you need to change in order to be prepared?
I don't know. I don't think about it in those terms.
Okay, that's probably too much of a womanly question. You willing to change is what I think. Your heart needs to be willing to change. You have to be willing to understand the way you were thinking and feeling before didn't get you prepared. So you need to.
You have to have a
completely
teachable
change it.
spirit.
Teachable spirit, exactly. The heart is wicked above all else, and who can understand it? That's what the Bible says. Yeah, it's in my heart that I did this. The heart and feelings are changeable. That they change all the time. They are not a way to plot a course or anything. Woo. Coming down hard. Man, we should do a stand-up comedy channel. The Hebrew comedy channel.
I'm not going to pass this guy.
Having a heart is a good start. It's
a good start. And for it to be beating, it's good for your heart to beat. That is good. And then we can go a step further and say beat efficiently.
Do not do kudzu, says the lamb keeper.
Oh, what? We're not. Sister Kate wanted to bring kudzu on the land for the goats. I'm like, oh, heck no. No.
The major
No.
Pastor Joe stomp.
No, not happening. Don't eat. No. No kudzu on the land.
What's a good used car for the homestead?
Anything you can afford.
Nicole Marie, my 99 CRV is almost dead. Okay, anything you can afford is a good start. A CRV is not bad as
we did a lot of research. We were going to get a RAV4. We had a brother tell us CRV is actually better than a RAV4, and he was a super mechanic. Gave us the reasons why, which I don't personally remember.
I don't remember.
But
either.
we're like, okay, and the CRV is a little bit cheaper, so we got a CRV. I love it.
Now, the reason we got the CRV for our homestead is because we have rough roads, and it's to go into town with. It's our little run to
Or
town
to do
car.
trips like this. We were renting a car every month.
Right. A pickup truck, 4-wheel drive.
You need a 4-wheel drive pickup truck at homestead.
Or something very similar, like a Honda Jeep or a Jeep Wagoneer, the long Jeep, not the
Yeah,
short.
but you need a pickup bed to homestead. You really do. Preferably an 8-foot bed.
If you're building and hauling fence and all that other stuff.
But they're not good driving long distance.
Right, and definitely 4-wheel drive. And a lot of people have what they call a farm truck, which is not a truck they register and insure to go into town. It's only for hauling stuff around on the farm.
Why, we have one of those, and it's got a front door that's a little bit janky.
Yeah, that's a whole other story. And this time it was just a case. But any 4-wheel drive vehicle is going to be worth its weight in gold if your homestead is rough.
But on a homestead, you need to haul stuff, which is why you need a pickup. You need to haul all kinds of stuff.
Right.
Dirt, rocks, firewood, critters, fence panels,
At the very
wood.
at the very least, an SUV like the size of a Blazer with a big back, so you can, if you have tall goats, you can put them in a dog kennel in the back of it. But right, and Craigslist is a good place to look for used vehicles because there are people who like to buy and sell vehicles, and they sell them in decent shape. I don't recommend going to used car lots because those guys are scammers. They're scammers, and they're going to take you for everything they can. If you're going to buy a used car, try to get somebody who knows something about vehicles to go with you. Your brother, your mechanic at your local gas station.
Yeah, if you have a mechanic you like, he might do it for free if you know him really well. If not, they'll probably go with you on a weekend. You know, you say, hey, I'll pay you $40 an hour or whatever. Come check out some cars with me and give you good advice on a car.
Another option would be if your local high school has a car, what do they call those things?
Car club?
Well, a car club, but also like a diesel mechanic shop or a wood shop. Sometimes they have mechanic shops for high schoolers to do,
We're going to stop up here.
skills and stuff like that, or a mechanic school near you. You can ask one of the students or instructors to go with you and look at a used car. And your insurance company may have a recommendation in your
But we
area.
use our CRV for everything. We haul lots of things in this.
Well, we took it to get feed and things like
How
that.
many pounds of feed did we get this last time?
300 pounds of feed in the back of it, but it's considered a little, it's all-wheel drive, and it's considered an SUV. The seats can fold down. So I hope that answered your question. That was a lot. Matt Kill said, so not a Prius then?
Yeah, not so much.
Not so much. Not really into the alternatives. Wes S., the only moderator, is here, and he said,
You're there, and I'm a moderator.
F-150 or 10 Chevy are both workhorses.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. Also, S10s. They're the smaller pickups, but a lot of people like them because they're easy to work on, and you can still haul some stuff with them. Wes said I wouldn't want to be without my Nissan pickup. Exactly. They're independent. Shalom, brother.
Shalom, brother.
Says F-150 is overrated for the homestead, decent towing capacity, but the weight rating for hauling wouldn't cut it for most homestead
Yeah, I like
stuff.
250s. That's what we have.
I had an F-150 and upgraded to a GMC 3500. An auto shop would be a good place to find a used, someone to help you with buying a used car. Evander Osborne said goats might actually be able to manage kudzu. It's edible and nutrition for humans as well, and made most delicious kudzu flour jelly once.
Cool, then you plan it on your place. We'll come visit.
Evander, we don't dispute that. Apparently, kudzu is good for human consumption. You can weave rope with it. You can probably make material out of it, like linen. You can feed it to your critters. It's just that it's very invasive, and that's why Pastor doesn't want it.
Agent Orange, baby.
We have very invasive plants already, and we don't need more of them. Although we do want that one. We want some bamboo.
We want bamboo.
Bamboo is invasive.
Big bamboo,
also,
golden bamboo, thick.
but it's useful. Chevy Love 4x4 if you can find one. It's super tough.
That's a cool truck.
True.
Look at that one. That's that Jeep truck.
That's an old Jeep
I
truck.
know.
That's a real Jeep truck. That's not the new
No, that's like
Chinese made
what,
Jeep
50s
truck.
or something.
TJ, I disagree. 90% of the homes second covered with an F-150 and added trailer. I think TJ's point was hauling heavier stuff.
Yeah, like we go take our truck and it's a 2500, which is like a 250, and we fill that thing with mulch and it makes that truck squat. That a 150 would never hold the amount of mulch we get in that thing. Same thing when I'm hauling firewood and I throw all these rounds in the back. It's heavy in that thing, and a 150, and we haul water in it, and yeah, I mean bigger's good. Depends what you're doing.
Yeah, I think it depends on what you're
doing.
doing.
Do the best you can with what you got where
right,
you're at.
because an F-150 will do the lighter stuff for sure. But like hauling trailers and heavy stuff, you go bigger.
Go big or go home, Sister
both
Kate.
brothers are right.
If you're going to kill a bear, kill a grizzly.
Lampkeeper said her brother's allergic to poison ivy. Oh, allergic to kudzu. Broke him out like poison ivy. Sister, my daughter used a mechanic to check out their used car. They have really expensive scanners that can find stuff wrong that my blue driver can't. Exactly. Okie Storm Chaser said he wants bamboo too. I'm a Ford guy just because my friend in high school was a Chevrolet guy. I just like to argue.
Was that Wes?
No, that was Westhold.
Oh.
Toyota's got a really nice Hilux little, I think that what somebody said, the 4x4 Love is what they called it here. Tough
that's
little,
a Chevy Love.
Oh, well, Toyota had a
The original Toyota's
little,
awesome. The Toyota Hilux you can't buy in America.
Right. There's some.
Which is a great truck, but you can't buy it in America. You can get the Tacoma, which is different. Looks the same, but it's different.
Bamboo is extremely useful. You can cook in it. You can build with it. The animals
pits.
will eat it. You can make punji steaks. I mean, there's just all sorts of things you can do with it. You can weave it. I should have asked if she has another vehicle that was a farm truck. It's whatever. I think we gave pretty good advice. Any other questions?
I got a question for y'all. I had an idea. Sister Kate didn't like it much. I said, we could probably sell a couple things and afford to buy a big old Harley and go driving around, buy some leather chaps and a leather vest, and I could put a bandana on and we could just like blah, 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 drive around. And she didn't really like that idea, but I thought it sounded kind of cool. What do y'all think? Let my beard grow longer again?
Or if your source for grain, beans, corn does by the ton or more, Bear is right, and you need an HD pickup. Lampkeeper said, I'm with Sister Kate. And Westhold Ford said, heck yeah, I'll ride with you.
Blah, 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 blah.
Tell you what.
Like an electric glider.
I have a bullwhip I've had for a long time. And I've actually used this sometimes. If we did that, I'd have to have that with me.
On a motorcycle?
Yep, right here, strapped
I'm
onto
thinking
the
a
leather
sawed-off
chaps.
shotgun and a little scabbard would be cool.
That's fine too. I can have both. I'm not picky. 1187 Gar. No on the hog. We want you to live a long time. Sounds very sensible. I prefer bamboo as well, specifically Tennessee river cane, and yes, the ability to carry is not much on my F-150. My parents do the Harley thing. They bought one of their trikes. Vikings MC. Yeah. There's probably one out there.
Yeah, we might get in trouble with a real MC.
We might get our butts whooped by a real MC. Bee ski sounds fun, but I think I'd rather have a homestead. I agree.
Yeah.
I think the homestead.
Well, that's the
offers
thing.
a lot of
For the
fun.
money you'd spend on the Harley, we're stopping right here.
Okay. All right. So
We'd
we're
buy
gonna stop.
another truck.
So we'll stop. We'll sign off on this live stream. If we want to continue, we'll get back online. But we have to stop and take care of some stuff.
Yes.
So, possibly be back in a minute. Possibly not. Okay. There we go. Okay.